Hello, church. Hope you're doing okay and you're staying home and staying safe if you have to be home. So I, the other day, had literally like 5 minutes before the kids kind of came in and were asking for something, and I was just sitting down and I was just like, God, please speak to me in these few minutes that I've got before the kids come in. And I was reading Genesis 12 where Abram and Sarai went into the land of Egypt. So previously, just before that, Abram had been called by God and he'd said to leave his family and just go where I send you. So I'm just going to read Genesis chapter 12, verse 10 to 20. At that time, a severe famine struck the land of Canaan, forcing Abram to go down to Egypt, where he lived as a foreigner. As he was approaching the border of Egypt, Abram said to his wife Sarai, "Look, you are a very beautiful woman. When the Egyptians see you, they will say, 'This is his wife. Let's kill him, then we can have her.' So please tell them you are my sister. Then they will spare my life and treat me well because of their interest in you." And sure enough, when Abram arrived in Egypt, everyone spoke of Sarai's beauty. When the palace officials saw her, they sang her praises to Pharaoh their king, and Sarai was taken into his palace. Then Pharaoh gave Abram many gifts because of her: sheep, goats, cattle, male and female donkeys, male and female servants, and camels. But the Lord sent terrible plagues upon Pharaoh and his household because of Sarai, Abram's wife. So Pharaoh summoned Abraham and accused him sharply. "What have you done to me?" he demanded. "Why didn't you tell me she was your wife? Why did you say, 'She's my sister,' and allow me to take her as my wife? Now then, here is your wife. Take her and get out of here." Pharaoh ordered some of his men to escort them, and he sent Abram out of the country along with his wife and all of his possessions. And it really struck me how similar this is to our life right now. Abram had been called by God, he'd seen God's faithfulness, he knew he'd met with God, he'd met with him in a really real way. And then he went to Egypt, where he was a foreigner. He went into the unknown. He went into somewhere that he was out of his comfort zone. And instead of standing on the promises and the faithfulness that he had seen God show him and provide, he stood on fear. He let fear take a hold of his heart. And nothing ever good comes out of fear. Fear can make way for lies. Abram then was so terrified as to what might happen to them that he then went on this whole lie about Sarai being his sister just to protect them, and that was not what God had wanted. There was this time where he could have gone into this land, and because of the famine that was going on, he was going into Egypt to fill up his resources. He was going into Egypt to fill up with food and be looked after. But instead, he went in there filled with fear. He then got a wake-up call when God spoke to Pharaoh, who realised that Sarai was actually Abraham's wife, and Pharaoh kicked him out of Egypt. And it just really struck me, how are we going to go into this situation right now? Are we going to come into this season of self-isolating and lockdown and kind of the unknown and out of our comfort zones? Are we going to go into this season filled with fear, or are we going to go into it standing on the promises and the faithfulness and the goodness that we have known God to have been and is? And are we going to come out of this season having been a survived mentality? I kind of think Abraham probably came out of it thinking, "Whew, we literally just survived that one." Are we going to come out of it with that mentality of surviving this season? Or are we going to come out of it probably how Abraham should have come out of it, in the time where he had filled up his resources? Are we going to come out of this being fed by God, being in his spirit, soaking in him? Let's use this time now, guys, to trust God and to stand on what we know of him. He is good. He is faithful. He keeps his promises. He is healer. He is a miracle maker. He's a way maker. We know all of these things about God. Let's stand on those things that we have seen and that we know, rather than letting fear take a hold in our hearts. So I want to encourage you guys to trust God, to fill up in Him, and to not let fear grow. I really hope that has encouraged you guys, and literally can't wait to see you all soon and give you a little hug. I'm not a hugger, but I'll go for it. I'll go for a hug next time we see everyone. So yeah, take care and stay safe. Bye.